So for this one, I'm going to take our box sides, I'll save that, and then I will save as, and I'm going to call this, what did we call that part? It was I'm just going to call it rotation. Okay, I'm going to save that, and then I'll delete all these. Yes, delete. Again, it'll ask us, are you sure? Do you really want to do that? Okay, now let me close that down. Just save it. Close all these box things. Close that. Close that. I'm going to open. I'm looking for our part we made, which was there. Example part we called it. Okay, so I'm going to open that. And we're going to dimension this. You can see this is going to be a bit more complicated to label up and dimension. We've got fillets, we've got radiuses, we've got holes, so this will really get us using some annotation here. I'm going to go to base. I'm going to bring this in 1 to 2, so we've got plenty of room. Okay. And I'm going to, will I have room? What I want is to have that view as well, but I'd like that view at the side. Okay. So I want to rotate this. I want this on its side almost. If I right click this border, I have some options here. I can click on rotate. Okay, and I can just choose clockwise by an angle, and I'm going to choose 90, and now you can rotate your part there, and now I can project that to the side. Okay, do that again, and now I can project that out to the side, right click, create. Okay, I'm just going to shuffle that, this gives us plenty of room. This is going to be a bit tight actually, but should be okay. So now I'm going to dimension this, and this may get a bit cluttered. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click the sheet, I'm going to go to edit sheet, and I'm going to go back to an A3 sheet just for this example, just so we've got, because I want to demonstrate these annotations, we need plenty of room. If you wanted to print it on an A4 sheet, you could make your view smaller. Maybe try and do it at 1 to 4. But I just want to show you everything. This is just a demonstration of a different annotation, so we're not actually going to get this manufactured. Right. So here, this really I want the hidden view. If we had the non-hidden view, we wouldn't see enough detail, so I want to make sure hidden view's on. We've got a hidden view on here, we can see. Now, this is the internal hole through the middle, this dashed line. These are these holes here, you can see, 2 dashed lines. Okay, so first of all, let's call this side view. And turn it on. And let's call this end view and turn that on. Okay. So the main dimensions we want first, which will be the length. Now we have a fillet here, so we want to make sure we don't want to be clicking on these lines or these lines because it's not going to go to the end. Okay, so we could click that green dot to that green dot, or you can actually go that line to that line and then up. Okay, and this is like an overall dimension, so we'll get that right out here. And again, there to there. Okay, we're going to click that. Well, you need to be careful here. Let me just drop that. This, okay, would seem correct because it is 100 millimeters, but this is a circular object, so this really you want it to be diameter. Okay, you could double click it and then drop that in, so that's okay. But I might be tempted here, because we've got this view as well, there's no point just copying dimensions, showing everything twice, showing it here and here. The reason you have different views is so you can share the information over different and keep it less complicated, but show everything you need. So I'd be tempted to put the diameters on here. Okay, so clicking dimension, you can just click your circle and then drag it out, and you'll see it. Because it's a circle, it knows it's a diameter, it adds that for you. And then we can put the other one there. Okay. And then we can delete that. And that looks a lot neater. Okay. This length, we can't show the length on here because it's looking the other side, so we need this on. Now, we want to dimension this piece. Okay. And I'd only dimension one because they're copies. Okay, so we'll just dimension, we'll spread our dimensions out a bit, if you like, so it doesn't get too crowded. So to make this, you would want to know, firstly, the distance from the center point there to the side. Okay, that's 50, and that center point is actually the center of this circle and also the center of that circle. So that tells you this a good setting out point. We need to know the angle, so all you need to just have the same command, the same dimension button. By clicking lines at two different angles, it will automatically give you an angle option. Okay, and we're going to make sure they know that both these are the same. We're going to keep using this dimension. We're just going to click on that curve there. Gives us a radius. Okay. Zoom in here. I've clicked on the green dot now, so it's expecting a length. So I'm going to escape that. Go to dimension again. Make sure you don't click on that green, click on the line, and it'll give you your radius there. Okay. And it's pretty obvious these are going to be the same. You could, if you really want to, you could put a radius there. I'd be tempted to leave that just as it's the same. You could have maybe just put one of these on as well, but let's just be clear there. I'm going to put a dimension on this hole, so that's 20 mil diameter. And you can see where it's a complete circle, it puts diameter. Where it's a curve, it automatically just puts radius. Okay. I'm going to do this width here. Like that. I'm going to do the thickness of this. I'm going to do the diameters here. I will show both of these, I think. Like that. Okay. You could put this angle on so that I know that they are 90 degrees apart. There. Now, depending on how thorough you want to be, that could probably be manufactured, I think. I can't see anything that we don't have. We don't need this dimension here. We could put that dimension on if we wanted to be thorough. We don't really need it because we've got the curve and the center point, but okay, why not add it? Yeah. One thing we haven't shown actually is that this is central to there. So I will put on a dimension from this circle to that line, and that way it's telling us that this is sitting central on the tube itself. And I think that's about everything. Okay, so as long as we knew that these were all identical, these veins, then you've got all your dimensions you need. I think. Maybe you might actually, yeah, you might want this one. Just to see how far out you come. It's a bit of a funny dimension. Okay, if you get something like that, maybe you might be thinking, well, that can just be rounded off to 6 mil. If you double click it, you can go here, precision and tolerance. Okay, and now you have two options. Maybe you wanted to say something else. You could override, and you could, maybe you didn't need to show it. It would maybe for some reason you didn't need to actually show it on the model the correct size, but you wanted to write the dimension. You can actually do that. The dimension doesn't have to say what it actually is. Or if you just wanted to round it to the nearest, you can select the precision. So it's set to 2 decimal places. By setting that to 1, it will just go to 6. Okay, so you have that option too. So let's say that's enough in terms of dimensioning. We do want to show some kind of standard symbol effects on here as well, just so it looks like a fabrication drawing. Usually when you have a circle, you would have some kind of crosshairs just to show the center point of the circle, and we have that's up here. So center mark. Once you've selected that, you just need to select the circle and it will give you a center mark. Okay, and it will extend the line slightly out. So for all your holes, put that in. Okay, usually something like this, you would have a center line running the length of it. So you click on line, click on the points for the center. Okay, and you get a line through the center like that. Now these veins will probably be, well, they will be welded onto this. How this would be made would be a tube. These veins, 4 would be cut out of a piece of sheet and welded onto this pipe. When you have something welded on a drawing, it's usually shown by a series of, like, you would have lots of lines showing, representing a weld. And we can do that here, this caterpillar. Okay, so it's going to ask us for an edge. That's our edge there, and we'll zoom in so we can see it. The weld in this case is just going to be on this side of the tube. It's not going to be into the tube, it's just going to be on this side. So we'll choose a single, and you can see by just moving your mouse and clicking, you get the correct size. Look, we need to make it bigger. The weld is probably going to be something like a 5mm weld. Okay, yeah, and we could, if we really wanted to, we could change the direction. It doesn't really matter, and we'll OK that. Okay, and I'll do the same here. 5mm, and here we can change things like the spacing in between, that kind of thing. But that's actually, I don't want it. I'm making the same. Okay, so now we can show that weld, and that's just, we'd probably have a note there. Just continue and just say 5mm weld. Okay, it's not strictly a welding note, that we do have welding notes. Anyone who knows anything about welding knows there is standard kind of symbols for your type of weld. See, and what the, let me put that in. So you have different symbols for different types of welds and things. Again, this isn't a mechanical engineering course, so I'm not going to get into that, but this is how you put them in. Okay, if you know what you're doing in terms of welding, you probably know more about that than me. I'm not a welder. Let's look at some of the others we can do. Surface. Again, that's just going to tell you about the surface, so that's standard. If you need to use these, then you probably know what they are. If you're not used to using them in CAD or something in your industry, if they don't look familiar to you, then you probably don't need them. That's how I'd describe that. If you see these welding things because you use them in your AutoCAD drawings, then you'll know how to put them in and what options you need to fill out. But caterpillars, the center marks and lines and parts list. That's a kind of a standard things. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you've got your dimensions. So this now, actually, no, that's we just need we'll just put this on. We'll just tell it the radius there, and maybe the other end, just to make sure. Okay. And again, this is the same. This could be filled out the same way as we did before, but that's it, and that's how you would send that out now. You could, so that's how you put together your drawing file and how you can present that in order to send it out.